All right, we are recording. We had 61 people last night or 67 that registered, and 57 or 58 got on, but I think only 50 were allowed in. So we had a whole bunch today as well. So I'm glad everybody's excited about taking 2021 to the next level. Um, Tonight we're going to discuss Think and Grow Rich, the preface, and the chapter on desire. And if you guys and gals missed last night's call, shame on you, because it was a humdinger, as somebody says, not me, but it was a very powerful call. It was really a call that only mastermind members go to, but I allowed everybody to go on the call to give you a taste of what goes on in the VIP mastermind group, because the key to success can really be broken down into 5 steps. The first step is to crystallize your thinking, to know exactly what you want, to establish yearly goals. The problem with there's certain things that Napoleon Hill got right, but that was written in 1925 when he started writing Law of Success. And then he wrote in 1937, he wrote Think and Grow Rich. Between 1937 and today, we've learned a lot about how the human mind works. One of the things that we know is that the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real event and an imagined one. If you've ever had a nightmare or a dream and you've woken up believing that it had happened, you know that's true. So it's okay to perfectly lie to ourselves uh, with saying things in our definite main purpose statement. And we'll discuss that more as we get into chapter on desire, that will begin to believe. One of the foundations of Think and Grow Rich is that even a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. And so you must grasp that statement, burn it into your soul, because that's the essence of succeeding in life. You will never succeed until your desire and your belief are sufficient. And how do you build that belief? Well, the same way that you believe that Crest is a toothpaste, that Mustang is a car, and that Coke is it, and that McDonald's is your kind of place. It's called spaced repetition. It's the learning process that works best for humans. So as long as you're a human, this will work on you. So let's go ahead and dig in a little bit. Let me just check the chat here. Hopefully everybody, did I want to record the call? We recorded it last night, and as I said, it crashed. So I'm going to try to extract it because I had a lot of information on my hard drive, but I don't give it much hope. I think it went away, but we'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with the premise of what this year is all about. And one of the things I talked about last night is that one of the 5 principal things are: 1, crystallize your thinking, know exactly what you want in life. The problem with having a purpose in life is that right now you will never figure out what your purpose in life is. And if you do, it's too far away to motivate you. It's like if I said to you, I'm going to give you a all expense paid trip to Honolulu, Hawaii. You can take your wife, your kids, and I'm going to pay for everything: hotel, airfare, food, everything. But it's not going to happen till 10 years from now. So how excited are you going to be about that? Not that excited. You'll be happy, but you won't be that excited. But if I said we're going to take an all expense paid trip to Hawaii in less than 30 days, get your affairs cleaned up, because you're going to take 2 weeks and go there and get the hell out of pandemic land here, you will probably get more excited. You see, the shorter the range of the goal, the greater its motivational power. So we focus on setting a 1-year goal. 2, the goal must have a deadline. Everybody says, oh, I want this, I want that. I'd love to travel around the world. Until you write it down and put a deadline on it, it ain't gonna happen. The third step is that you must create a plan for achieving your goal. And that's part of what Napoleon Hill talks about. Now, he says that we're basically, when you write down the goal, you're not going to know how to get there. If you had belief that you could do it, it'd be done. And if you had a plan on how to get there, you would have already arrived. However, we must begin to take baby steps towards accomplishing the goal. And so we must have a written plan. And a written plan, just like a map, gives you confidence. When you know exactly what steps you need to take each week, each month, each year to accomplish your goal, it gives you incredible confidence in yourself and your abilities. And that will help you in accomplishing your goals, because setting a goal is not really about the goal. It's really about changing your attitudes and behaviors. When you look at yourself, and everybody on this call, and there's 37 people on this call so far. And so every single one of you, no matter where you come from, no matter what your nationality might be, you're going to look at yourselves right now. And if the results that you are currently experiencing are not to your liking, it's because of what? Your behaviors, your actions, lack of action, or taking too much. And where do those actions come from? They come from your attitudes. And of course, what is an attitude? An attitude is a habit of thought. Therefore, the process of goal setting is the process of changing your attitudes and behaviors so that you achieve the result you want. But if you continue with the same attitudes and behaviors that you currently have, then you're going to achieve the same results that you currently have. Trying to change to achieve a goal without changing your behaviors doesn't work. Many people decide they want to lose weight, and they say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to start eating less. I'm going to start exercising more. And what happens to the majority of people that try to change their actions? They fail. Why? Because inherently their self-image, their attitude, and their beliefs doesn't allow them to continue. Why? Because losing weight or maintaining a certain body weight is all about lifestyle. And if you have never if you look at somebody, you can tell in 2 seconds what their attitudes are about lifestyle. If somebody's in shape and lean, what does that tell you about them in terms of their beliefs about lifestyle and nutrition and exercise? Anybody?
They're focused.
Say that again.
They're focused on their goals.
Yeah, it tells you that they are focused on health and fitness. When you look at somebody that's overweight, what does that tell you about their focus or their belief system? That they believe that it's okay to eat. It's okay not to exercise. However, whatever the underlying reasons for that behavior might be, and it may be conditioning. If you have a relative or somebody close to you that's overweight, it's like 93% that you will also be overweight. That's just the way it is. We become like the people that we associate with. When dad and mom said birds of a feather flock together, or tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are, that was very true, because that's how human beings work. If I took you right now and moved you to a deep part of Texas, within a year or two, you'd be speaking with a Texan twang. You'd be wearing big hats, boots, and buckles. If I moved you to China, same thing, Japan, any other part of the world. Human beings are creatures of integration. What happens when somebody comes into a culture and doesn't assimilate? Well, that was the problem with the Jews in Germany. The Jews in Germany maintained their own cultural identity. and they did not fit in with everybody. And so when you are the odd person, and here in America, it's the same thing. You can pick any group, nationality, whatever you want. And if you don't assimilate and become like the rest, you are ostracized. You are looked upon as less than. So one of the things that humans do to survive is we adapt. That is the number one reason why humans are the dominant species on this planet, our ability to adapt. We can adapt to the cold, we can adapt to the hot. So if you don't so Paul Meyer said, if you are not now making the progress that you would like to make and feel that you are capable of making, it's simply because your goals are not clearly defined. Period. End of story. What Napoleon Hill discovered in plain English was that the successful people, the 500 successful people that he met, had goals. They called them a purpose, a definite purpose. So we use some of his language, but I want to make it for 2021 easier for everybody to understand. So goal setting is the most powerful human force for motivation. That's it. So in essence, one of the attitudes and behaviors that you must adapt is that you must become goal-directed and self-motivated. The problem with most of the motivational speakers today is a problem that's existed for a long time. You go to a seminar, you get all excited, and then you leave. And every day after you leave, the effect of that seminar starts to go away. Almost 80% of what was the information given to you doesn't get applied. When you look at, according to researchers, they found that when information is presented 6 times through spaced repetition, it is retained up to 62%. And that's why seminars and motivational conferences don't work, because what it needs is repetition, repetition, repetition. And Napoleon Hill spent a whole chapter discussing that. It's the chapter 4 on autosuggestion. And so you must understand that autosuggestion is the key to this science. And if you expect to achieve anything in life, you must understand that and apply it. The problem is that a lot of you have not figured out the difference between knowing and doing. And that is, you may have intellectual knowledge of Napoleon Hill, but if you're not applying it, it don't mean nothing. It don't work. And so let's discuss the chapter, the preface of the book, and let's pick it apart. So does everybody have their copy of Think and Grow Rich? Either a PDF version or a printed version? Awesome. So I'm going to pick on somebody, or I'd like to get a volunteer to read while I go to the bathroom. So who would like to read the introduction on the first page, starting with truly thoughts are things? Do we have a volunteer that has a nice, clear speaking voice? But if it gets desperate, I'll take somebody who doesn't have such a clear speaking voice. Come on, don't be cowards.
What page is it on, Bert?
My book, which is the classic version, it's page 17. It's chapter 1, introduction.
I can read it.
I got it.
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll take you next, Elizabeth.
No
So
worries.
start with truly thoughts are things and powerful things at that.
Truly, thoughts are things and powerful things at that. When they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects, a little more than 30 years ago, Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. His discovery did not come about at one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes' desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you will have a better understanding of the 13 principles which led to riches. When this desire or impulse of thought first flashed into his mind, he was in no position to act upon it. Two difficulties stood in his way. He did not know Mr. Edison, and he did not have enough money to pay his railroad fare to Orange, New Jersey. These difficulties were sufficient to have discouraged the majority of men from making any attempt to carry out the desire, but his was no ordinary desire. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage rather than be defeated. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced he had come to go into business with the inventor. In speaking of the first meeting between Barnes and Edison years later, Mr. Edison said, "He stood there before me looking like an ordinary tramp, but there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. I learned from years of experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded."
Okay, stop there. Okay, a lot of information. So take out a piece of paper and I want you to write down the 5 success essentials, and then we will compare those to the Andrew Carnegie Formula when we get into the chapter on desire. We're going to go quickly through the chapter on the preface so that we can really dig in, because there's a couple of key points in this chapter. So the first success essential is to crystallize your thinking, to know exactly what goals you want to accomplish in the 6 areas of life. Why 6 areas? Because the problem with this science is that you're going to become obsessed with what you're going to repeat over and over again. And so if you focus on only money, you will achieve it. Unfortunately, you may be out of shape. You may lose your relationships because you will become obsessed. This is the advantage and the disadvantage of the Napoleon Hill method. So the first success essential is to crystallize your thinking. And nobody's asked me, what are the 6 areas of life? Financial and career, health and fitness, mental and educational, spiritual and ethical, family and home, social and cultural. So the idea is to have a balanced life so that we don't end up as many of the wealthiest people in the world did, which is they had a lot of money, but the kids didn't love them. The wife walked out of them and the world just hated them. Make sense? Okay. So number 1, crystallize your thinking. Number 2, develop a plan and a deadline for its attainment. A goal without a deadline is just a dream. 3, develop a burning desire for the accomplishment of your goal. 4, develop supreme confidence in yourself and your abilities. Number 5, develop a dogged determination. What I would call a I will not be denied attitude. If you're not writing this down, you can go ahead and leave now because I don't need you on this call. Okay. This is not a spectator sport. Okay. If you're here for
You're going really fast though.
I know. That's why I'm waiting for somebody to say that.
Okay.
Because if nobody says that, what does that tell
I was
me?
going to say it also.
What does it say to me if
fast
everybody goes,
idea.
okay, it means they're not listening because you can't keep up with me, babe. Okay. I see.
You repeat the 6.
So 1, crystallize your thinking. Okay. Crystallize your thinking means you must decide on a goal in life. Ideally, a financial goal. You see, if my goal is to buy a house, what do I need to buy a house? Come on, this is a question people can answer.
Money.
Money, credit, right? A lot of things. If I want a boat, a C-Ray 360 Sundancer, $110,000. What do I need?
Money.
Okay, if I want the Mercedes-Benz SL 550 convertible, white with a beige interior, what do I need? It's $120,000.
Money. Good luck.
Money.
A lot of money.
I live in America. What do we need in this country? Money.
Money.
Okay, now somebody made the mistake once and said money can't buy you love, but you can rent it. If you've ever seen a 50-year-old guy with a 22-year-old girlfriend, that's on a lease right there. Okay. So, or vice versa, you know, it could be the other way too now these days. It's become more popular. So crystallize your thinking, develop a plan and a deadline for its attainment, develop a burning desire, have supreme confidence, and then have a dogged determination. So what principles are part of those 5 steps? The 3 most important principles. You can achieve your goals in life without applying all 13 principles. Autosuggestion, though, is the cornerstone of the philosophy. Does anybody understand what that statement means? Napoleon Hill called it the lodestone. The lodestone is the bearing part of the construction of a wall. So I call it a lodestone. It means that everything in this science or in this method of his fixes itself on autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the tool. Okay, so if you understand that, you'll already be way ahead of everything else. Yes, I'll do it one more time. Crystallize your thinking, which means which means have a goal in life. Okay, a 12-month goal is where we start. 2, develop a plan and a deadline for its attainment. 3, have a burning desire. Develop a burning desire. 4, have supreme confidence in yourself and your abilities. 5, have dogged determination to follow through on your plan, regardless of obstacles, criticism, circumstances, or what other people say, think, or do. You must develop an I will not be denied attitude. An attitude of failure is not an option. Now, let's take a look at number 5. And can anybody tell me where in the preface that I believe it was Jason that was reading, where Napoleon Hill talked about that I will not be denied attitude?
Jumping on the baggage car.
Yeah. He basically, Mr. Edwin C. Barnes, which by the way, before he turned 30, became a multimillionaire and became best friends with Napoleon Hill. What he would do is to develop this mindset. He developed what he called his morning speech. And he began doing that before he even traveled to West Orange. Every morning he would get up in front of the mirror and he would read this morning speech out loud. And he said, it sounded something like this: Mr. Edison, not only will I become your partner, but in the process, I will become wealthy and help you become even richer. Now, every morning for 5 years, he would repeat that first thing in the morning and last thing at night. If you repeat something like that twice a day for 5 years, do you think it'll have an impact on you? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Can anybody give me an example of current politics of where somebody has repeated something over and over again, even though it was a lie, and many people believe it? Anybody have? I mean, I know it's going to be hard, right?
Are we really going to go
No
there?
comment.
Yeah, well, please, let's not go there.
Let's not go there. It's
Well,
too
you
much
have to look.
problem.
It's not about politics. It's about what? If you're focusing on the politics, then you're definitely don't belong here. Because the lesson is about what? What is the lesson about?
Determination. Determination.
It's
Perseverance.
about auto suggestion. Napoleon Hill said, even a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. Hitler said, the bigger the lie, the more believable it is. That is what auto suggestion is about. And how do we get to embed that in our subconscious mind?
Over and over again.
Over and
Repetition.
over and
Repetition.
over and over.
That's what television does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's why it's
Repeat the
called
lie, repeat
programming.
it often enough, and it becomes the truth. The reality is that politics is all about that, not only now, but throughout history. That's why they use television commercials and they have catchphrases, right? Like McDonald's has a catchphrase. I know growing up, I wanted to be an Oscar Mayer wiener because that's what I truly wanted to be, because I knew that if I was an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me. Now, did I sit there in front of the television and take notes
No.
and study it? No. Just the repetition over and over and over again created that. Now, this is the same technique not only that politicians use, but where else can we find the repeated mantra that has converted millions of people to a cause?
Church,
Anybody? Huh?
church, religion.
Yeah, religion. Now, if you are a Muslim, you face Mecca 5 times a day. You pray 5 times a day. If you are Catholic, you pray morning and night, or Christian for that matter. I don't know if in Buddhism, in Buddhism, they usually carry prayer wheels that have 1,000 beads. And the idea is to repeat the prayer 1,000 times a day. The mantra, the method, the modus operandi is the same. It's repetition of the same thought. Now, when you repeat that prayer over and over again, what does that do to your subconscious mind? What does it create?
Belief.
Programs.
No, belief. Yeah. Programming is the ultimate, but belief is the key. If you look at cults, and we're examining this just to give you another perspective other than telling you it works. I want you to see it work. Okay. And there's plenty of examples, and that's why I use politics and religion, which normally is a taboo to talk about, but that's where this has been used heavily. So when you look at the idea of repetition of thought, you begin to understand what is one of the things that you need to begin doing. So the 5 steps were: 1, crystallize your thinking; 2, develop a plan and a deadline for its attainment; 3, develop supreme confidence in yourself and your abilities; number 3, develop sincere desire; number 4, develop supreme confidence; number 5, develop a dogged determination. What is dogged determination? It's another word for persistence. Chapter 10. What is self-confidence? Where do we find the self-confidence formula? Has anybody really read the book
Right.
other than the people in the master?
Faith.
It's in faith.
Faith,
The
chapter
chapter
3.
on faith. What is
Three.
the word faith mean? The way Napoleon Hill uses it. He tells you it's not faith as used in
It's
religion.
faith, it's in confidence.
Yeah. Faith is having belief in yourself. And when you have belief in yourself, that's another word for confidence, right? So what Napoleon Hill told us is in the chapter on faith is that part of the secret is to have faith or confidence, self-confidence, and not confidence in a religious being, but confidence in yourself and your abilities. Every decision you've made in life was based on your level of confidence. If somebody approached you to go sell real estate and you're a computer person and that's all you like to do, and you really don't do well with talking to people, and you don't feel that you're that kind of person, of course, then you are going to refuse to take that position. Now, what happens if the person that's attempting to get you into real estate really does a good job of selling you on the idea, but you inherently don't see yourself as a real estate salesperson? Your self-image sees you more as a technical person behind a computer screen than going out and talking to people and being sociable. What do you think will happen if you take
never
that
gonna
job?
become
Huh?
You'll be
Struggle.
unsuccessful. Struggle, unsuccessful.
Well, what you'll do is you'll try it, and then what's going to stop you?
Your thoughts.
yourself.
Believing in
Believe.
yourself.
Obstacles
Confidence.
and roadblocks.
Burnout.
Every goal that you set, you're going to face obstacles and roadblocks. And there's typically 3 obstacles that you will face on the way to achieving any goal. One obstacle is you'll never have enough time. Second obstacle is you'll never have enough money. Third obstacle is you may lack the resources. That could be education or other people. Inherently in every goal, you will encounter those 3 obstacles. And it's your willingness to pay the price to overcome those obstacles that'll determine whether you succeed or not. So in this preface, Napoleon Hill shared the story of Edwin Barnes, and he tells us that he was willing to burn his ships. What principle is that? If you're willing to have dogged determination or persistence.
Perseverance.
Commitment, determination.
Persistence.
I gave you the answer, didn't I? I said
Determination, dogged determination.
Persistence.
Having a burning desire to.
You gave us the
What
answer.
did Hill say about persistence?
To iron to steel, something like the quote about.
He said, persistence is to man
Mhm.
what carbon is to steel. Does anybody know what carbon represents in the making of steel? Any engineers here?
Bonding.
Yeah. Can you make steel without iron, without carbon? Iron. So what iron is to steel? Sorry. No, you cannot. So for an individual, having persistence is a key element. And that's why step 5 is dogged determination. Now, Napoleon Hill also pointed out that there were 2 individuals, only 2 out of the 500 that he studied, that he said were the 2 individuals that had the greatest amount of persistence. Does anybody know who those 2 individuals were?
Edison
it was
was Ford and
Henry
Edison.
Ford
Henry Ford.
Uh-huh.
and Edison.
That's right. Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. What he discovered was the filament for the light bulb. And it took him, 10,000 experiments before he found the correct filament. Along the way, he made 3 discoveries that he was able to patent and turn into a sale. One of them was the phonograph. Now, if Mr. Edison had not been focused, if he had not had a purpose, what was his purpose? To discover the filament for the light bulb. He would have never discovered the phonograph and the dictaphone. So that happened because we attract to ourselves that which we set out for ourselves. You'll attract to yourself based on your attitude of mind, the money if you need the money, the ideas if you need the ideas, the people if you need the people. That's what the law of attraction is really. It's not about attracting a Mercedes Benz. It's not about attracting, money. It's about attracting the things that you need. So Napoleon Hill shares with us the story of 3 Feet from Gold. What is that story all about? Those of you that read the chapter.
The miners that gave up on his mining, and if he would have kept going 3 more feet, he would have hit a gold mine.
Right. There's 2 lessons there. One is before you make a decision to seek out professional advice, everybody in this group has somebody that they ask advice of. But let me tell you this. If you decide to start a business and your friends and family all work in company jobs, corporate jobs, and they've never started a business, or if they have, they weren't successful at it, are those the type of people that you want to consult with?
No.
No.
Who do you want to talk to?
Like-minded
Success, people who have
people.
started a business successfully.
Sam Walton.
Yeah. Just because he's your father or because he's your uncle doesn't mean that he is qualified. So the metaphor that I want you to remember is this. Don't ask the butcher for advice about diamonds. So who do you ask advice about diamonds from?
The jeweler.
A jeweler, somebody who's a professional, knows about it. If you need legal advice, don't ask your next door neighbor who's a postman. He don't know shit. You don't go get your brain surgery from your next door neighbor who studies holistic medicine. Whole different field there. So you seek out professional advice. And even when you do seek out professional advice, you should explore more than one or two individuals to get a fair assessment, to get a second opinion type of thing. So in this chapter, Napoleon Hill tells us about the little girl who stood there, as well as what's his name? Darby, who gave up because they wouldn't seek out advice. They sold the mine and the equipment, and the next person was smart enough to hire an engineer who said, you need to dig 3 feet in another direction and you'll hit the master of the vein, the lodestone, as they call it, or whatever it was called back then. So that's the second lesson in that group. But now let's get into some of the little girl. What was the skill that she had? What saved her from a beating?
Determination.
Persistence.
Persistence.
Persistence, right?
No for an answer.
She was persistent. She wouldn't take no for an answer. And that was the secret that turned Darby into $1 million round table member, because he was unwilling to accept no as an answer when he asked people to buy life insurance. That was the lesson he learned. So when we go further on, we have a couple of things that Napoleon Hill tells us. And this is one that a buddy of mine wrote down on the back of a business card and kept it in his wallet and looked in the area where he kept cash when we had cash. And every time he took out a dollar bill or whatever to pay for something, he would look at that card. And what he wrote on it was this: one sound idea is all that one needs to achieve success. So can anybody give me an example of one sound idea being what one needs to achieve success?
Amazon.
Amazon, one idea. Facebook, one idea. Uber, one idea.
Walmart.
Airbnb, one idea.
Clubhouse.
Yeah. So all it is one idea. That's all you need to get started. My friend Alan Nagao found one idea, and it was to sell yo-yos. Now you would say, yo-yos? Can't make money with yo-yos. He made $39 million in his pocket selling yo-yos. The one sound idea was to incorporate the idea of yo-yos with martial arts. So what he would do is he would bring the kids to his kite shop, sell them the yo-yo, and then teach them 10 tricks. When the kids mastered the 10 tricks, he would give them a yellow belt and then teach them another 10 tricks. When they mastered those 10 tricks, he'd give them a brown belt until eventually they learned 100 tricks and they became a black belt. Once he saw the success he was getting from that, he lived in Hawaii. He's a Hawaiian. He decided to take that idea to the country that would probably be the best for that idea or concept. Anybody want to take a gander at what country would be a country that would do? Philippines is close. He did go to the Philippines, but that wasn't the first one.
What's the question again about the country?
When you think about martial arts, what country do you think of?
China.
China. And what? Japan.
Japan.
So where in China did they wear belts to mark their rank? No. Where did that originate from? Japan. Yeah. So he went to Japan with the idea of selling 1 million yo-yos, and he contracted with Duncan Yo-Yos and Yamaha Yo-Yos and got them all to agree to pay him $1 for every yo-yo he sold. He went to a toy event, kind of like Comic-Con for toys. And that day, his goal was that he wanted to sell 1 million yo-yos. Over 950,000 people went to the mall in a 3-day period. And Alan sold 3 million yo-yos that day. In a period of 5 years, he took his road show to the Philippines, to Australia, to New Zealand, back to Hawaii, and then to the United Kingdom, London. and California. In 5 years, he sold 39 million yo-yos. And at age 39, he retired. He bought a beautiful house at Sandy Beach in Hawaii and retired at 39. Not bad, right? What did he do? One sound idea. And one other piece of the puzzle, which we'll share in a minute. So here's the next thing I'd like you to write down. And I'd like you to take some of these quotes, underline them, and later on, type them up on a sheet of paper, put them somewhere where you'll see them, put them on a sticky note so that they embed themselves in your mind, kind of like a billboard, like a radio show. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly and in such great abundance that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. That was Bob Proctor's favorite quote. And he wrote it on a card, a 3x5 card, and he carried it with him for a long time.
Can you repeat it one more time, please?
Sure. It's on page 28 in Think and Grow Rich. And it starts with, when riches begin to come, they come so quickly and in such great abundance that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. So let's now take a look at some of the clues that are in this chapter. So what are the lessons from this chapter? That to succeed in life, you must have persistence or dogged determination. You must have a specific goal. That's what Barnes had. He had a specific goal. What was Barnes' specific goal?
To go into business with Edison.
Right, to become a partner with Edison. Right? That was his objective. He had one objective and he stayed committed to it. Now, one of the main weaknesses of mankind is the average man's familiarity with the word impossible. He knows all the rules which will not work. He knows all the things that cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules which have made others successful and are willing to stake everything on those rules. Again, the first chapter is a lot about persistence. Success comes to those who become success conscious. How do you become success conscious?
Focus on a goal. Continuous focus on a goal.
How do you focus on a goal?
Success.
How do you focus on a goal?
But like we have to to define a goal with a clear purpose.
Okay.
You have to be conscious of it.
How do you become conscious of it?
Main purpose statement.
Persistence. Think of it.
What did
always.
somebody say? Not persistence.
Persistence.
Definite main purpose statement.
Okay. It's a definite main purpose statement. It is my birthday, February 20th, 2021. And I, Bert Hernandez, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm receiving over $100,000 in monthly residual and passive income from my global online businesses, real estate investments, and other income streams. I easily and effortlessly accomplish my daily tasks, which includes creating an imperative important list daily, scheduling 15 appointments weekly, and adding 10 new clients per month, thus ensuring my success. That's how you become success conscious. By having a definite main purpose that you read out loud with excitement. I didn't do it with excitement or enthusiasm right now because I'm seated down. It's late at night and people are on the down low. But in the morning and every other time, I do it out loud with enthusiasm. And I do it 25 times a day. Why? Why do I repeat it so many times?
Spaced repetition.
Yeah, but what does that do?
Reinforces
Subconscious.
Confidence.
Belief system. It creates a belief system.
Belief.
in your
Belief.
subconscious mind.
Even a lie becomes the truth if repeated often enough, right? Even a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. That's it. Period. End of story. So what is stopping you from achieving your goal right now? The answer is you don't believe deep down inside that you can do it. Because here's the thing. If you knew that, if you believe you could accomplish the goal, it would be already accomplished. Because you already believed it. Does everybody here believe that they can drive a car if you drive a car?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you first got behind the wheel, did you believe that you could drive that car very well?
No.
No.
Does everybody here know how to swim?
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay,
Yes.
those of you that don't know how to swim,
Yes.
if I offered you $1 million and I was going to throw you into a pool 10 feet deep in the center, and if you couldn't survive, nobody would save you, you'd drown. Would you take me up on that bet?
I can swim
Perhaps.
good enough to get by.
Yes, I'd swim along the bottom and then come up the side of the walls.
Okay, so what do you believe? What do you
Oh.
believe? Because I
I
said
believe I
swim.
could survive
I
enough.
need the
I
million
said
dollars.
swim. Swim doesn't mean swimming on the surface. You can also swim underwater,
Yeah.
right? So you believe you can swim underwater. So you're out of the equation. You get a penny. But those of you that can't swim will not take me up on that offer. Now, the reason that I relate to that is because when I was about 7 years old, my father took me down to the YMCA to learn how to swim. My father had a very strong motivation. He had 15 brothers and sisters, and his closest brother and him went swimming. My father lived in Cuba, and his brother got pulled by an undertow. My father swam out to him, but he couldn't save him, and he saw his brother drown. And therefore, he would not allow me or my sister to not know how to swim. So we went down to the Y, and I asked the lady if I could see the pool, and it was heavy with ammonia, because that's what they put in the pools those days. And I sat there and looking at it, and I walked over to the deep end. I got the courage to walk over to the deep end to look and see how deep it was. And unbeknownst to me, a kid pushed me into the pool. Now, I didn't know how to swim, and he pushed me hard enough that I wasn't near the edge. However, just like this other person, I don't know who it was that said it, I knew how to swim underwater. So I relaxed, held my breath, and swam underwater till I got barely to the edge and pulled myself out of the pool. So here I am wearing sneakers, shoes, and a shirt, fully drenched. And my father says, "You're not supposed to go in the pool." I said, "I didn't do it purposely." But so I get that. But what saved me was that I knew I could swim underwater. I knew how to hold my breath, and I knew how to swim underwater. But if I didn't believe that, if I didn't have that skill, you and I would not be talking today. So yes, I get that. But if you're silly enough to take a bet for me throwing you into a deep pool where the sides are about 15 or 20 feet from where you are, and you're willing to take $1 million and you don't know how to swim any which way, you're going to drown. Because you may tread water for a little bit, but that's too far for you to reach the edge unless you know how to do that, unless you've been in the water before. So it's belief. So what the repetition does is it creates belief. And it's that belief, the stronger the belief becomes, the easier it's going to be for you to reach your goal. The problem that everybody tells you is they tell you that you must take action because it's action that's going to get you there. But if you don't believe that you can take the action, you may try, but what's going to happen? You're going to fail. Why? Because you don't believe it. So belief and action have to go hand in hand. They work together. So I'd like for anybody to go through the preface and find me the first clue about the secret. And I'll give you a hint. It's on page 33. It's the first clue. I'm going to go to the bathroom again.
Is it the third paragraph?
Okay, anybody find the clue?
Intense desire. That's my guess.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off.
What is the starting point of all achievement?
Desire.
Definiteness of purpose.
Oh.
That's one of the laws of success. Number one.
Is that on this page, Bert?
No. That's in Law of Success and all the other books that Napoleon Hill wrote. In this book, he calls it desire. But there are 17 principles to Napoleon Hill philosophy. And if you read, there's a book called The 17 Success Principles. There's also Law of Success, Peace of Mind. There's a whole bunch of books that go beyond Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is really just a beginner's Bible. Doesn't have everything. It's like the King James version. It's not the original version. So if you look at this, on page 33, what I wanted you to pick up on was what Napoleon Hill says. And he said, if the poet had told us the great truth, well, here it is. He says, when Henley wrote the prophetic lines, I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul, he should have informed us that we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our soul, because we have the power to control our thoughts. So the question I asked was, why do I do my statement so many times? To build belief. Once that belief becomes powerful, then the goal happens. In order to, if you are a non-believer, let's go to some of our religious individuals, they'll get this from a different perspective. Usually the people that see miracles or have miracles happen, are they believers or non-believers?
Believers.
Believers. Right. Because the state of mind that you must have to see miracles in your life is a state of mind called faith or belief. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing in this philosophy. If you do not believe that you can accomplish your goal, you will never receive the plan or instructions to help you accomplish it. The state of mind must be faith. And the way you get there is through having positive thinking. Positive thinking is what it takes. Positive thinking means that you believe you will accomplish your goal, even though you have no clue of how it's going to happen. No clue. You go merely off of faith. Isn't that what we do in religion? We believe in a deity that we've never seen, touched, felt, talked to, or anything. We do it completely off faith. And so faith is one of the principles, but we call it belief in this book. So in the introduction, he tells us, where is it? Did I miss it? Oh, preface. Okay. Okay, so here's the clue. It's in the chapter, it's on the preface, the author's preface. And he tells us, the secret to which I refer has been mentioned no fewer than 100 times throughout this book. It has not been directly named, for it seems to work better, to work more successfully when it is merely uncovered and left in sight, where those who are ready and searching for it may pick it up. This is why Carnegie tossed it to me so quietly without giving me its specific name. If you are ready to put it to use, you will recognize this secret at least once in every chapter. So everybody, when I ask them what's the secret, they go desire, persistence, autosuggestion. But he just said, I have not directly named it. That means it can't be any of the 13 principles, because if it was one of the 13 principles, he mentioned it. So therefore it can't be one of the 13 principles. And he also said that Carnegie gave it to him. So those are two major clues. So let's read on. If you are ready to put it to use, you will recognize it, the secret at least once in every chapter. I wish I might feel privileged to tell you how you will know it if you're ready, but that would deprive you of much of the benefit you will receive when you make this discovery on your own. Today, I'm going to blow that bubble up for you, and I'm going to tell you what the secret is in a minute. While this book was being written, this is what led me to discovering the secret, this chapter right here. While this book was being written, my son, who was then finishing the last year of his college work, picked up the manuscript of chapter 2, read it, and discovered the secret to himself. What's chapter 2?
Desire.
Say it out loud.
Desire.
Desire. So
Desire.
what do we know? That we can find the secret in the chapter on desire. We can find it everywhere, but specifically in the chapter on desire. He gave us the clue. He said he used this information so effectively. Now, this was Blair, and Blair had no ears. He was disabled. He used this information so effectively that he went directly into a responsible position at a beginning salary greater than the average man ever earns. His story has been briefly described in chapter 2. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, he says, this story of my son's discovery and use of the Carnegie Formula, write that down, may prove to be the oasis in the desert of lost hope for which you have been searching. So we have two major clues. One, Blair discovered it while reading chapter 2, and it's called what? The Carnegie Formula. Now, today it's much easier. I could have found, back then I didn't have a PDF. We didn't know what a PDF was in the 80s and 90s. So today I would just go into a PDF and type in Carnegie Formula or formula, and any instance of the word formula coming up would show me where the secret lies or lays. So he tells us the secret was extensively used by President Woodrow Wilson during the World War. It was passed on to every soldier who fought in the war, carefully wrapped in the training received before going to the front. A peculiar thing about the secret is that those who acquire it and use it find themselves literally swept onto success with but little effort, and they never again submit to failure. If you doubt this study, the names of those who have been mentioned, wherever they have been mentioned, check their records for yourself and be convinced. Well, I did that. I used to go to this thing called the library. And I would take out, they let you take out 5 books at a time. 3 if you're a kid, 5 if you're an adult. And I would take home all these books about all these people like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford. People made 2 mistakes about Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. Most people believe Thomas Edison discovered electricity, and most people think that Henry Ford invented the automobile because they never read. But we have clues here about the secret. Then he tells us that one part is already in possession of those who are ready for it. And the other, you will find it the moment it reaches your mind. Bear those words in mind. How do we get anything to reach our mind, specifically our subconscious mind?
Repetition. With
Repetition.
With
Spaced
feeling.
repetition.
Mhm.
What's the difference between repetition and spaced repetition?
The interval.
Have you ever watched a cable show and they keep showing at every commercial break that same goddamn commercial for some kind of drug that has 90,000 things that'll happen to you? Your kidneys will drop out of your pocket and your heart will, leap out of your chest. And you sit there going, stop it, please. I can't take this commercial one more time because you forgot to VCR it. You didn't tape it. Yeah. So it has to be spaced repetition, because if I give you the same commercial over and over and over and over again, you're going to go nuts and hate it and tune it out. But guess what? Even though you tune it out, it still works. The secret was passed on to a business associate of Mr. Edison. He used it so effectively that he was making $12,000 a year He accumulated great fortune and retired. That was the story of, that's actually the story of Mr. Barnes. So we know a couple things about The Secret. Number one, The Secret is mentioned in every chapter in the book. Number two, it's specifically in the chapter on desire. And number three, we know what else? What's the third thing we know? That it's called the what?
Carnegie Formula.
Carnegie Formula. And he told us that those who find it and apply it will go on to achieve incredible things. Now, all of you here have read Think and Grow Rich at least once.
Yes.
How many here,
Yes.
by a raise of hands, discovered The Secret on your own? Not from me, not from any of my groups, but you discovered it on your own. And number two, you applied it exactly as instructed by Mr. Hill. How many? I don't see many hands. Let me go to the next screen. I have 45 people still left on the call. I don't see anybody here. Sarah, Hearns, did you find it? Lino? Dave, you're in the mastermind, so you don't count. Marshall, you're in the mastermind. Okay. So nobody, if they discovered it, did not apply it. Well, that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. There is a gap, and it's called the knowing and doing gap.
Doing gap.
See, if you guys and gals study this book, that's great. But if you don't apply it, not so great. See, here's the thing, and I want you to remember this. Knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. Knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. So if you are ready for it, you already contain one half of The Secret. What is that half? Does anybody know?
You already know.
Do you know?
No.
What is that half?
Definiteness of purpose.
Yeah, you have a dream, a desire, a goal. You already have something that you want. That's the first half. The second half is when it reaches your mind. How will that reach your mind? Auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion.
So now let's go to the chapter on desire. Fast forward. We're over time. Is everybody good if we go till about 9:30 Eastern?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So desire starts off and it tells you, here's the clue, right? Desire, the starting point of all achievement. What is a desire? If I desire a car, what is my desire?
The car.
A car. If I desire a house, what is my desire? A house. So desire is the starting point of achievement, having a desire. So let's go through this quickly. And on the second page, on 39, it says Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything back of that goal. When I first read that, and I don't have a camera today, but if I did, I'd show you. It's underlined, it's highlighted, and it's asterisked with red marker. I took that paragraph and I put it on a 3x5 card that I carried with me. Every time I went to the bathroom to pee or poo, I took out that card out of my pocket and read it. Because it says what? Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything back of that goal. I knew that was important because it took him 5 years to achieve it. I set a goal when I was 22 years old and discovered The Secret. I set a goal to earn $100,000 by the time I was 25. I achieved that goal 2 months prior to my 25th birthday, and I didn't make 100,000. I made 123. And that was today, in today's income, that would be over $325,000 in today's dollar bills, because I'm not 25. I'm 55 now. Okay. So we're now getting ready to discover the secret. Now, if we go to page 41, he tells us, desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquiring those riches and backing those plans with what? Anybody know where I am? Let me give you the beginning again. The beginning of the chapter says, every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money. Everybody find that? Elizabeth?
I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know what chapter. I don't understand.
I'm on the chapter on desire.
Okay.
Last
I'm on
paragraph.
on the third. I'm on page 41 in the original version.
Okay.
That's why I want everybody on the same version. And you will find it. You have page 1, page 2, page 3. It's on page 4 of that chapter from the beginning of the chapter.
24 on the PDF.
So start
Okay.
again. I'm sorry. When you said, I thought
Every
you said
human
you were-
being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession. Everybody got where I am right now? Because this is we're going to
Yes.
find the secret.
Yes.
Everybody be there?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Everybody awake?
Got it.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
we're going to find it. Get ready, because when you find it, you're going to mark today. If you've never discovered it before, you're going to red circle your calendar today. Napoleon Hill said, when you find it, to turn over a cup. Since there's water in my cup, I'm not going to turn it over. Okay. But planning.
emptied my cup. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Planning definite ways and means. Okay. Here's the 5 steps, right? Definite planning. Step 2, right? Definite ways and means to acquiring riches and backing those plans with persistence. What is persistence? Determination, which does not recognize failure. Failure is not an option. Will bring riches. Now, here's the answer. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. Everybody there?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Elizabeth,
Yes.
read
Yes.
the first. What is number 1 of the 6 steps?
First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There's a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. You want me to keep going?
Yep, read all 6.
Okay. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. And I have a note that says you will have to be willing to pay a price and a sacrifice. That's just a note I have, I guess. The third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once. Whether you are ready or not, put this plan into action. That's the one I failed last time I took this class. Fifth, write out clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. And sixth, read your statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. Keep going.
Outstanding. Yes, please.
Okay. It is important that you follow the instructions described in these 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph.
Okay, stop right
You-
there.
Okay.
Okay. This is the Andrew Carnegie Formula. This the secret. Now, those of you that have read this book once, twice, or even more, why didn't you do what it says?
Life
Lack
got in
of
the
belief.
way.
Lack of belief.
Lack of belief.
It was too simple.
Too simple, huh? Yeah. Life gets in the way. No, it doesn't. Who lets life get in the way?
I do.
You do. Now, later on, when we discuss the chapter on decision, Napoleon Hill gave another powerful statement, and that is that rich people have the ability to make decisions quickly and to change their minds slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them often. Why do you think that people who are successful in life can make decisions quickly?
Confidence.
Confidence and belief.
Nope.
Because sitting on the fence is the worst place to
Okay.
sit.
I'm driving
Because
down
they have
to
a
Florida,
plan.
right? I'm going to leave right now and go to Miami. It's about 6 hours. I get on my car and I start driving. 3 hours from now, I get a phone call from my friend. He says, Bert, come back. Where are you? I said, I'm halfway to Miami. He says, come back to Tampa. There's an incredible party going on. There's some, Mark Cuban is here and all these people are here. Come on back. And I say, what? No, because I already
No.
made commitment to be in Miami. So how long does it take me to make a decision?
Second.
Seconds.
Nothing. Yeah,
Now,
second.
if I decided to take a ride and I'm driving around with nowhere to go, no purpose, no desire, no endpoint, and he calls me up, the only sound you'll hear is me stopping and turning around because I don't have a goal. That's the reason that successful people can make decisions quickly, because they know where they're going at all times. So I'd like you to hear this, and I'd like you to write it down. And because it's a phrase that at age 22 I put down on my refrigerator door, and it's still there today. And it is this: if you are not now making the progress that you would like to make and are capable of making, and I'll say it again, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined.
Can you please repeat again?
Yeah, I will. If you are not now making the progress that you would like to make and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. The thing that Napoleon Hill discovered from studying 500 people was his job was to verify that this formula was the secret to their success. Napoleon Hill said, here's my secret. Go talk to these other 500 people and find out what their secret to success was. What did he discover? Do you think Rockefeller had a purpose, a goal?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you
Absolutely.
think
Can you
that
repeat it
Edison,
again, please?
Sure. If you are not now making the progress that you would like to make and are capable of making, it's simply because your goals are not clearly defined. Now, how come I know it by heart? Anybody want to take a stab at why?
Space repetition.
You got it. I've been saying it for 35, 36 years now. Okay. So what he discovered was principles that these people used, but the most important one was number one. And that was definiteness of purpose. That's what these 6 steps are. What does he tell you? Now, remember, back in 1925, when he figured this out or wrote it down, did anybody know anything about goal setting back then? No. You know when people became aware of goal setting? In 1954, when Peter Drucker wrote a book called Management by Objectives. And that's when corporations decided that they would use objectives or targets to help their employees achieve their goals and reach their corporate goals. It took almost 25 years, 29 years after Hill discovered it for corporate America to discover goal setting. When he talked, now, let's do a little bit of history lesson here. What business was John D. Rockefeller in? Anybody know?
Oil.
Nope. What was the main source? What was the main source of lighting in America
Kerosene.
prior to electricity?
Kerosene.
Kerosene. And prior to kerosene,
Candles.
whale oil.
Whale oil.
What happened to the whales?
Became extinct.
We hunted them almost into extinction. So once that started to happen, Mr. Rockefeller had a refinery. And what did he produce in that refinery? Kerosene. It was called Standard Oil because it was the standard in kerosene, the best. Because what's the problem with kerosene?
Combustible.
Very combustible. And so the biggest fear people had was that their house would catch fire in the middle of the night. So he had to give them assurances. Once Edison and Tesla discovered electricity or created electricity, there was no longer any need for kerosene. And does anybody here light their houses with kerosene? No, it stinks.
No.
Right? So we all use electricity. So what business did Rockefeller then get into?
Gasoline.
That's right. And what was gasoline? Gasoline was a residual product from the refining process of kerosene. It was sludge. It was thrown out, usually in the back of the refinery, and they would see it blow up every now and then. It would catch fire and stuff. So his business was, he was in the lighting business and he ended up in the gasoline business. Now, who helped create the entire gasoline industry?
Ford.
Henry Ford. Who was in Henry Ford's mastermind group?
Firestone.
Rockefeller.
Harvey
Well,
Firestone.
In 1887, Henry Ford worked for this guy called Thomas Edison. And he was one of his supervisors. And that's where he got the idea of the assembly line. And Mr. Edison allowed him to take apart a car in the lab and put it back together again, as long as he didn't do it on the clock. Mr. Edison was part of Henry Ford's mastermind group, along with Harvey Firestone, John Wrigley, and this guy that very few people knew, Woodrow Wilson. Now, that's the power of the mastermind. Henry Ford barely had a high school education. How did he become so damn smart? Edison had a third grade education, but he was self-taught. So what do you think that John Wrigley, who was very wealthy, gave Mr. Ford?
Education.
Financing. How much money did Henry Ford invest into the company? None. No money. It was all borrowed. Friends, relatives, and banks. Not much from relatives, mostly from his mastermind group. What did Mr. Firestone contribute?
Tires.
Tires. And Woodrow Wilson?
Leadership.
And he was also a politician. So a few favors here and there, right? So that's how the mastermind enabled Edison and Ford to become so successful with it. In fact, they took Edison to court, Henry Ford to court and tried to take the company away from him because he wasn't educated. And in court, he said, they asked him who the 8th president of the United States was. And he said, sir, on my desk, it's a row of buttons. And if I needed to know some foolhardy information like that, I could press a button and some Tom, Dick, or Harry will come in and give me that answer. So I don't need to fill my mind with that stupidity. He said, knowledge is not what I have, but what I can obtain. If you've ever been to law school, they'll tell you that the law is not having the knowledge, but knowing where to find it. And that's what he did. So just a little brief lesson, because that's the power of the mastermind. And we'll be discussing the mastermind later on. So right now we have here the secret. So what is the secret? Is that you must decide what you want. It must be a financial goal. The twist on Hill is that it must be a 12-month financial goal. It must be a yearly goal, because if you have a 5-year goal as the only thing that you're focusing on, it's not going to be motivational enough. You'll get more excited about going to Hawaii next week than you will going to Hawaii 5 years from now.
A question here.
Sure.
Okay, as you told about the 5 years goal, if you are only focused for the 5 years goal, so it doesn't mean that, or it doesn't mean that we should focus 5 years goal, 1 year goal, and rather like we can divide into the quarterly goal.
Well, for the purposes of this, you want to have a 5-year vision. Okay. That's where you want to go. But remember, the problem with a shifting environment like we have today, most corporations no longer have 5, 10, or 15-year goals. It's too far out. The economy, the environment changes too quickly. So we're going to have a 5-year vision of where you'd like to be 5 years from now. But when we're going to go to work, we're going to focus on what it takes to, what do we need to do this year, this month, this week, today. You notice when I said my statement, I didn't say $1.2 million. I said $100,000 a month. So I focus, my income is based on monthly, even though the deadline is a year from now. Okay. So let's tear into this. So we must decide on a specific amount. Now, Don Green, who's the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, did a call with us in the mastermind group. And he said, yes, you can use this for anything. It doesn't have to be money. So you can use this formula to go to college, to become a doctor, to build a house, whatever. It's the same thing. The reason that I want you to focus on a financial goal is because of this thing called poverty consciousness. Okay. And everybody has it. Do you know the term poverty consciousness? Just a yes or a no is fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No? Okay. Those who don't know, raise their hand real quick, just so I get a visual. Okay. And those of you that are not on screen, I can't tell. So Napoleon Hill said that the rich get richer because they're focused on making money. And the people that aren't focused on making money by default become poverty conscious. Why? It's the same thing as positive thinking and negative thinking. Do you have to work on having negative thinking?
No.
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 It's inherent in human beings, right? It's inherent in human beings. We look for danger, and looking at so if you see an accident on the road, you're not looking to find out if they made it out okay. You want to find out what caused the accident so you don't get involved in it. But so that's a safety mechanism built in with us. So we're always going to lean towards the negative. And that's why you can't try to change somebody who's negative. They have to change themselves. They have to be willing to do it. It's hard enough. David, oh, sorry. Okay. It's hard enough for us to change ourselves. So it's impossible to change others. So the key thing here is that you must decide on a specific amount of money that you want. Okay. You must decide on a specific amount of money you want, a 12-month goal. So it can be an income goal. Now, here's the question I was asked once. I had a gal in our mastermind group, and she said, Bert, how can I set a financial goal to increase my income by 20, 30% when I work for the New York State government, and the most I can expect on my review, if it's perfect, is 3%. That's the max. So how can I do it? And I said, that's the wrong question. What's the right question?
What do I need to do to make more?
Yeah. So I told her, I said, well, do you have any skills that you can use outside of work? I said, what do you do? She says, I work in social services. I said, so you do counseling? Yeah. So she ended up getting NLP certified. She ended up getting some coaching certifications and started a coaching and consulting business. Today, this was back in 2015. Today, she's left her security of her job at the social services and is now making double what she was making back then, which was she was making about 75, 80. So last year she was making about $1.60. And she said to me in a discussion that if I hadn't told her that, she would have just focused on the job. Because I said to her, is that it? Because she got what? She got brain focused on that job and thinking of all the income she could make. Today, it's easier. I mean, I had a guy telling me he's $15,000 in debt and he doesn't want to join the mastermind group because he doesn't have the money. And I said, well, you're 45 years old. How long are you going to allow money to stop you from having what you want? You've had 20 years to figure out how to have $1,000 or so, and you don't have it. And I said, what's your plan to get out of debt? Now, let me ask you a question. He's receiving unemployment. Now, here in Florida, unemployment's $253 if you make, over 80, 90 grand. In New Jersey, it's like 550, 620. So it's really ridiculous down here. You can't live on unemployment no matter where you come in. So he was collecting unemployment and the company had given him severance and he was still in debt. Now, if your goal was to get out of debt, what could you do in today's economy? Any ideas?
Any.
Uber,
Drive Uber.
Uber,
Instacart,
Lyft,
Uber
Instacart,
Eats, yeah,
Uber Eats.
pizza delivery at Domino's. Amazon pays $15 an hour.
Plasma
What's happening
donation?
with Amazon sales? Are they up or down in this
Up.
pandemic?
Way up.
Way up.
Way up.
Way
So
up.
what are
Way
they,
up.
so now they don't use the post office as much because of the argument that Bezos got into with Trump. So he started his own delivery service. So they need more drivers. So you could go to work for Bezos and drive one of his electric delivery vehicles. They're not all electric yet, but they're getting there.
And they franchise all those out.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
franchised. And here's the thing. What else can you do? What if you know how to use Photoshop really well? What could you do with that skill? Could you go to Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com or any of those freelancing websites and do graphic work and sell it at $150, $200 a pop? I just paid
Absolutely.
at 99 Design. I paid $150 for a logo. I
You
could
can
have
go
done
to
it myself.
Fiverr and charge for hugs or calling elderly people to keep them from being lonely.
Yeah, you could sell stuff on Etsy. You could sell stuff now on Facebook.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. So how hard would it be to get out of $5,000 of debt? $100 a week will do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a big deal anymore. You can do that Instacarting in 2 days, especially during the holidays. Anyway, so the thing is, what didn't he have? Number one,
Vision.
was it? He didn't have a goal.
A plan.
A plan.
Desire.
He didn't have a plan, and he didn't have a deadline. Now, the 6 steps basically are really are 2 important steps, and that is to decide what you want and put a deadline on it. And then he tells us that we must write out a clear, concise statement. And number 5 is we must read that statement out loud. Okay, there's no reading it silently to yourself. All that bullshit about handwriting your goals every day is bullshit, because number 6, you must see, feel, and believe that you're already in possession of the money. So here's what happens. So let's talk about money consciousness. It's number 6 that makes it all work. Here's where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you will have it. How do we convince ourselves?
Auto suggestion.
Visualizing.
Yeah. Space repetition, visualization with space repetition. Only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. How do we become money conscious? By having an income goal and what else? Savings.
A deadline.
Savings. It's not
Deadline.
enough to make money, but you need to save it. At age 22, I read a book by an author was George Clayson. It was called The Richest Man in Babylon. And the book gave me an affirmation. It was 1/10 of all I earn is mine to keep. And the idea was that whatever your gross pay is, you take 10% and save it every week, and you figure out how to live on 90% of your income. Later on, at age 25, I changed that to 20%. And at one point in my life, I was saving 50% of my income. Once I got to the position of regional vice president with Prudential, where my base salary was 25,000 and bonuses were another 10 to 15, I could easily save 20%. By the time I was 32, I was the youngest regional vice president in Prudential's history. How did I say that to you? Not to impress you, but as Tony Robbins would say, but to impress upon you the power of these 6 steps. But the most important step is to say the statement out loud with emotion. If you don't do that, you just waste, you didn't do nothing. So my strongest encouragement is that you go to this page that I'm going to show you now. And let's see, where do I have it? Okay, it's got to be here. Okay. I want you to go to this page, and I want you to get a copy of the Think and Grow Rich audio, the condensed version, and you'll also get the hidden secrets in Think and Grow Rich for free, plus a condensed, plus a PDF of Think and Grow Rich. But what I really want you to have is the condensed audio, because I want you for the rest of the time that you're on this call to listen to it once a day for 30 days. Now, you don't have to pay conscious attention to it. You can let it play in the background. I usually put an earbud in one ear and I just let it play in the background. While you're driving, while you're walking the dog, while you're exercising, listen to the audio and it'll reinforce all the concepts. And in 20 minutes, you'll hear the whole book because it's a condensed version. It's also in Earl Nightingale's voice. So he has a very powerful voice.
Yes,
It
he
is
does.
life-changing. It was one of the secrets that Bob Proctor used to become successful, and he was able to earn $1 million within 5 years of starting his program of reading Think and Grow Rich every day and listening to that audio. Then I want you to do one other thing after that. I want you to go to this link, and I'll put it in the page, and I want you to scroll down here, and I want you to get a copy of the template and the lost chapter of Think and Grow Rich. I'm going to give you the definite main purpose statement template. Okay. Because between, let me hold on one second. Where is it? Lost. Okay. Okay. I just put the, all right. I just put the link into the chat box for the template, and I'm going to put the link for the free book and audio. Damn it. COVID sucks. Okay, so this is the link for the ebook and the audio. The first one is for the template. So let's talk about that. So I want you to go here because you're going to get a couple of things. Normally I sold this for $99. Then for one special offer, I made it $39. And now I broke it down to $19. So what you're going to get is the definite main purpose type of template. Napoleon Hill in this book gives you an example of how to write out that statement. The problem is that it was written in 1925 and then updated in 1937. It's not in present tense. and it doesn't take into consideration balance in your life. So this definite main purpose statement is what I give all my mastermind members to start off with. So I want you to have it, and I want you to write down, use the template to help you write down the goal, because the hardest thing you'll find is determining your goal. Part of it is also that you're going to watch a video that will help you identify your strengths and your weaknesses. And that's important because your weaknesses is your comfort zone. And we need to get you out of your comfort zone. Okay. Because every time that you don't take action, it's because you're in your comfort zone. So how do we get out of the comfort zone? It's just go into chat. It's still there. Just log back in. How do you get out of your comfort zone? You have to change your behaviors. How do you change your behaviors? Repetition. So when I did the video, I discovered I was a monkey personality. That's the promoter personality. A promoter personality is a powerful personality, but it's like a monkey. That means I like to be sociable. So what am I not? Okay. So in my statement, it says, I am a disciplined, organized, scheduled, responsible, punctual, single-minded, and laser-focused leader that gets things done on time or before. Why? Because when I started back in, when I was 22 years old, I wasn't disciplined. I wasn't organized. I showed up to work late all the time. I was a prima donna. I wasn't focused. I wasn't laser focused. But by saying that I'm a disciplined, organized, scheduled, responsible, punctual, single-minded, and laser-focused leader that gets things done on time or before, I became a determined, disciplined, organized, scheduled, responsible, punctual, single-minded, and laser-focused leader that gets things done on time or before. I still struggle with personal organization, but in time I will overcome that. That's a matter of my attitude. I don't feel that it's worth it. I'll send out an email with it. Yes. So let me just do this for a second. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on, and I'd like you all to take a moment now, because I have to go to the bathroom again. I'm on these pills that make me go to the bathroom like every 30 seconds. Sucks to be me right now. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at everything that you're going to get as part of this, and I priced it at 19 bucks. Okay, I'll be right back, and look at what you're getting for that 19 bucks.
Can I make a comment to the group, to you guys?
Go for it.
Sure.
Go for it.
Guys, if you are in this group, that tells me, one, you have a desire to want to be successful, and two, you are not there yet, but you're looking for a guide. For $19, guys, if you don't do this, that's just batshit crazy. Think and Grow Rich.
That shit crazy. I love it.
Think and Grow Rich has turned my life around in every way. I own several properties. I got a happy life. I just bought a new house. I just signed the papers for a new house at the beginning of this year for me and my wife. It's this Think and Grow Rich, guys. You need to live by it. And I truly, truly honor and believe to follow the system and read it. I mean, for $19, for the love of God, if you can't afford $19, man, you really got to step things up. But this shit is for real. And I'm not even in his coaching program, but I am 100% honorable and believable that this is worth it.
Well, whoever was saying that, thank you. So one of the things that I wanted to show you, because I did bring up Alan earlier, and I want to show you something here because let me just find it and share the screen. So I told you about Alan. Let's scroll back because on this page, you'll see and read Alan's story. So Alan, this is a picture of Alan. And if you can see this picture, you'll see very quickly, Alan's right hand is Alan is disabled. Alan has only one hand. The other hand is basically fused together. The fingers are fused together. He has 4 fingers fused together and a thumb. They call it a flipper. And he has 1 leg. Now, even though he was disabled like Blair, Alan did not allow that to stop him. And he was able to make $39 million. Now today, Alan, who's 55 years old, makes $600,000 a month working for a company called New Skin. It's a network marketing company. He joined them back in 2003. Alan owns $100,000 in real estate in Hawaii, and he donates $300,000 a month to a foundation called it's like the purpose of it is to end world hunger. So this foundation makes sure that every child doesn't go to bed without having at least one meal. And they have this super hybrid meal that provides all the nutrients that somebody needs. And they do it all in one meal. So it's really incredible. But that's what he does it about. That's what he focuses on. That's his goals. Because as he told me, he has made so much money that not only does he not have to work for the rest of his life, his son doesn't need to work for the rest of life. And when his son has children, his son's children don't ever have to work. And his grandchildren's grandchildren will never need to work for the rest of their life. Just like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and all these other rich people, he changed the direction of his family because he created a legacy of wealth between the earnings that he has, which will continue because it's contractually set up that way, the real estate, the houses that he owns. He owns a house in Hawaii, a house in California, and a house in Miami because he comes here to the United States to promote his business. But he also has a house now in Mexico. He has a house in Colombia, and he had a property in Vietnam, but he sold it. Incredible success story. What was the secret to his success? Read the page. The other person that you'll meet is my friend Derek. I've known Derek since like 2015, 2014. And Derek has a very simple success story. He was making tons of money in real estate prior to 2008. And we all know what happened in 2008. The market collapsed and he was all in commercial real estate. And all that money he was making went away. And he had to file bankruptcy. On the way home from the bankruptcy court, he got hit by a car, which almost severed his neck. Fortunately, he didn't need to have it fused. He spent 6 months in a body cast in the hospital and then 2 years of rehab. And he would not do real estate again. He was delivering pizzas. His wife got involved. She was involved in making teeth for the dentist. And so she was bringing in all the money. And then she got involved with Alan and started in the network marketing business. This is now based on 2018. So when in 2018, Derek by himself earned over $7 million in 7 years. How did he do it? Because of the definite main purpose statement template that you're going to get. Both Alan and I created this definite main purpose statement after much collaboration because we knew that the old statement, while it was good, it didn't work because it says, I will have in my possession. And the I will is a future tense verb and it doesn't work. And there's a lot of things that we went into and we expanded it as well. And then I took it to another level. We also have the story of Randy, who basically went from broke, living in a tent, to making over $1 million because of the statement. And you'll hear that story and you'll be able to read it. And then as somebody was saying down here, what you're going to get for $19 is not only the template, but you'll also have access to the master class. We're going to do a master class on creating a definite main purpose statement. We'll help you in that class identify a goal and create the statement. You'll also get the self-confidence formula, the new version, a cheat sheet that'll quickly and easily increase your understanding of the principles in Think and Grow Rich. And you'll receive the complete Think and Grow Rich audio course, 21 audios in MP3 format that you can download to your desktop. You can play them on iTunes, Google Music. You can play them on your cell phone, your iPad, your laptop, whatever it is you have. You can probably play it on a tree. You're also going to get a copy or access to the bonus expert interview with Don Green, president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And you're going to get the Lost Chapter in Think and Grow Rich, which is on how to quickly and easily eliminate fear from your life. Very powerful. Retail value of all this is over $1,000. It'll run you $19. And if you don't feel it's worth it within 30 days, just let me know and you get your $19 back. I don't want your money, but I do want a commitment. And what I have found from all my experience is that when you give something for free, that's the value that people give it. I strongly urge you to do that. And what you'll get with that is, in addition to all that material, you're also going to get a master class, and you're going to get a 30-minute one-on-one session with me to help put your statement together. So what you're going to walk away with for $19 is a powerful statement that will take you to where you want to go in 2021. Okay. Unstoppable is what we're using for this year. Okay. So the chapter on desire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to ask me something?
I want to ask you something. So, also, I'm looking at the bottom of this page, and it's like, oh, never mind. It's the rare recordings for an extra $47.
Oh, yeah. That's the recordings of Alan. Okay. Alan did a whole, let me tell you a little bit more about Alan. When Alan was 25 years old, he discovered Think and Grow Rich and started reading it. And along the same time, he met this gentleman in Hawaii. His name was Joseph Green. Joseph Green was 87 years old at the time. And Joseph Green had been a student of Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. And so he had spent 10 years working for Mr. Hill and Mr. Stone, marketing the PMA, the Science of Success course. So he had an inside knowledge into Think and Grow Rich and everything Napoleon Hill. And if you don't know who W. Clement Stone is, Google it. Mr. Stone started a insurance company with $100 investment. And before he passed away, it was worth over $3 billion. He didn't have a high school education. He had a GED, never graduated from college, started his business during the Depression. Just an incredible individual. In 1939, he discovered Think and Grow Rich. He set 2 goals. One was to have a net worth in 15 years of $10 million. And 2 was to form the largest old line life insurance company in America. He accomplished both of those. By the time he passed away, he exceeded that $10 million goal. He was worth over $2 billion. Incredible individual. You should read his story. W. Clement Stone. He was president of the Combined Insurance Companies of America. Incredible story. Paul J. Meyer, who was my mentor, was a personal friend of Mr. Stone. And through Stone, he met Napoleon Hill. And that just gave me another degree of understanding of these principles. If the tapes by Alan, as Alan shared it with me when he allowed me to resell them, he said, in these audios, you're going to get not what's in the book, but what's in between the lines. And that's where I drew a lot of what I will be teaching moving forward in this. But it's, repetition is the mother of skill. So the more you program your mind with these ideas, the faster you'll accelerate. What you need to understand is that we are all conditioned. We've been conditioned by our mother and father, our sister and brothers, school teachers, well-meaning relatives, and they have conditioned us with their limiting beliefs. They pass to us their limiting beliefs. If they don't believe, if they try to start a business once and failed, they're going to pass on that limiting belief to you. They're going to say, hey, you don't want to get involved in business because look at this. I failed at it. And, most people fail at it. 97% of people fail at starting a business. You don't want to try that. And they're going to limit you. Or they might be, wow, what do you think about, you're going to go to college? Nobody ever in our family ever went to college. My father was one of 15 kids. He didn't own a pair of shoes till he was 18 years old. He was the first person in his family not only to go to college, but to graduate from high school. 1 out of 15. The way he was able to go to college is he went into the military. And through the military, he was able to graduate. He got his degree in agriculture because he lived in Cuba at the time. And if you're living in an agrarian society, agriculture is good. He also got his master's in teaching and ended up going back in the Bay of Pigs operation, if you know your history, ended up being captured by Castro and serving 2.5 years as a prisoner of war. When he came back from that, he weighed 55 pounds. Was then recruited by the CIA as an operative, spent the rest of his time in South America chasing down Che Guevara and other people that were trying to inject communism into South America at that time period. So I didn't see him a lot, but I knew the stories because I made sure I asked him when he was older. By the time he was 72 years old, my dad had over $5 million in net worth from real estate, even though he was in a government program, making, you don't get paid well to be an operative. It's not like, 200,000 a year, 75 grand back then. So anyway, Alan discovered that. He got involved with Think and Grow Rich. He joined Mr. Joseph's Green Mastermind Group. It was only 5 people. They allowed a 6th one in, his girlfriend, who later on became his wife. And both of them took that knowledge of Think and Grow Rich and applied it and became super, super wealthy. Derek discovered Alan, got involved in Think and Grow Rich, started doing the statement every day, 15 times a day. Within 7 years, went from 0 to $7 million in earnings. And his wife, Claudia, exceeded him because she started sooner. And today he lives in California in a beautiful condo. He has a house in Colombia as well, and a house somewhere else. I forget where it is. But all because of the statement. The statement, the statement, the statement. The statement is what's going to change your life. You've never done this before. Nobody teaches this. Nobody. Because why? Because if I give you the real secret, you're not going to buy anything else. You're not going to take expensive seminars. You're not going to come to my 10X conference. You're not going to come to my paradigm shit. Oh, is it shift? Sorry. Okay. You know what a paradigm is? A limiting belief. Everybody wants to make it, Napoleon Hill said, in every adversity, there's a seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Tony Robbins said, don't look back. No, Paul Meyer said, don't look back unless you want to go that way. Tony Robbins said, what was it he said? The past does not equal the future. Same bullshit. Same shit. Brendan Burchard is the worst at it. He takes everything somebody else says and then sells it to you. What I believe in is that once you understand that the definite main purpose is the key, setting goals, the only other thing you need is an association with success. You need to surround yourself with other like-minded people because most of your friends and relatives are going to think you're crazy because you drank the Kool-Aid and they didn't.
Right.
And they think that they're right. 97% of people don't do what we're doing right now. Only 3% do. So you can drink the Kool-Aid and be part of that 3% and maybe 1% down the road, or you can be with the 97% who don't have goals. I want you to do an experiment before our next meeting. Ask all your friends what their goals are. And if it doesn't sound like this, they don't have a goal. And the way it should sound is, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm receiving over $100,000 in monthly residual and passive income from my global online businesses, real estate investments, and other income streams. You could wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask me what my goal is, and you'll hear that exactly. I dare you to find one person that can tell you specifically what they want and by when. You ain't going to find it. That's the 97%. But they got excuses. They got stories of why they can't do it. Life gets in the way, right, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Life just happens.
Such a
Shit
good
happens,
example.
right? Yeah. I'm tired. I worked hard today. I went to my job, sat behind a desk in front of a computer for 8 hours, and now I'm tired. I didn't lift a goddamn thing like my father used to lift shit every day, right? Our grandparents worked hard. They toiled the field or they lifted things. We don't do manual labor. But yet we're tired. That's bullshit. You got to push through that. How many days a week does Mr. Rock? How many days a week did Trump work when he was running Trump organization? Anybody know? 7 days a week, 12-hour days. How many days a week does Elon Musk work?
8.
Probably same.
7 days a week, 14 hours a day. How many days a week does Mark Cuban work? 6 days. He has kids now. 12, 14-hour days. Here's the secret. There There is no shortcut. Once you know what you want, you have to be willing to pay the price. How did I get from at age 22 making, I think it was $28,000 to $100,000 in 3 years? I made a decision that I wanted it, and I used to work 4 days a week, took Fridays off. I was in sales. I then started working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I did that for 3 years straight. That's how I got there. Then I got promoted to sales manager. They didn't give me anything great. They gave me the shittiest group of individuals in the world. I fired half of them. It took me 2 years to win a president's citation. How do you get a president's citation? You have to be the top 10% sales managers. There were 500 sales managers. The first year that I won it, I was number 48. It's only 50 that get it. I was number 48 by the skin of my teeth. By my second year, or third year actually, I was in the top 10. Then I got promoted to assistant to the regional vice president, which was a hovering position until they found an opening for me. And then I got promoted to RVP. I was the youngest regional vice president, $25,000 a month. $25,000 a month, company car, key to the executive washroom, corporate dinners for free, 2 trips a year to conferences, bonuses. I didn't pay nothing for my health insurance. Prudential didn't have stock options. So I got in Prudential's, they called it PIP, Prudential Investment Program, which was their way of giving you stock options in a mutual insurance company. And then at 32, I decided to leave the company a year after that, started my own insurance agency. Just before I turned 35, I sold my insurance agency for over $1.3 million. My goal was to achieve $1 million by age 30 by investing in real estate. Didn't happen that way. But you see, it doesn't matter what the plan is. It's staying true to the goal. How did I accomplish that? How did I get there? I taught everybody what I'm teaching you. As a sales manager, I taught my salespeople how to do a statement, and I made sure they did it every day. As a district manager, I made sure all my sales managers had a statement and they taught it to their salespeople. As a regional vice president, I had 150 district offices with 50 salespeople, 10 sales managers, and 1 district manager, and I taught each of them how to do it. And they taught it to the districts taught it to the sales, and the sales taught it to the agents. When I would walk into a district office, I'd say, "Give me your statement." Now imagine the power of your fucking boss 2 levels up asking for your statement and you don't know it. I actually had somebody pee down their leg. They were so terrified because they knew that I didn't. Paul Meyer said one thing that I took to heart. He said, "I don't make excuses and I don't accept them." That's a mindset. See, if you're not willing to make an excuse for your lack of performance, then you're not willing to accept somebody else's. And that's the mindset that you need to have. This is more about mindset. This is more about attitudes. You know, you can't see it now, but on my left arm, I wrote in semi-permanent marker. I have to find the right one. "I will not be denied." It's on my form. And on the other arm, it says, "Failure is not an option." And my commitment is every day for 30 days, that'll appear on my arm until I achieve my goal for this month. And I'm willing to work 7 days a week, 12-hour days to get it done. No excuses, because that's what it takes sometimes. If you're willing to if you want to go watch Netflix and hang out at home and, do all that, great for you. You'll never hit your goal because it requires work. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you it's going to happen. You're just going to attract it. It's just going to fall in from the sky. It's going to be, it's just going to fall into your hands. It's not. But it starts out with identifying your goal and then beginning that repetition process. That's where it begins. And that's what all of you need to do. And I strongly urge you to take advantage of the offer because you're going to get a master class. We're going to spend about 2 hours. I'll send out an email to those that sign up to attend. It'll be probably on a Tuesday night. It's going to be 2 hours, a deep dive into the definite main purpose statement. You're going to take a psychological test during that time, and you're going to begin creating it. And then you're going to have a 30-minute session with me where we're going to fine tune it and condense it. Because the first time you write it, it's going to be like 2 or 3 pages. Because you're gonna put in there all the shit that you've ever wanted in your life. It's gonna be like a Christmas list to Santa Claus, you know. Dear Santa, I want everything in the world. Signed, Bert. You know, that's how it starts. I had a guy give me 4 pages for his first statement. Let me tell you his story. He's not a native English speaker. He's from Sweden. So he sends me this thing, and between not understanding the grammar that he used and being 4 pages long, I couldn't deal with it. So I told him, I sent it back and I said, dude, you got to get this down to 2 pages or less. So he cuts it down, sends it to me. And then he was on a mastermind call where we talked about one sound idea is all it takes to create wealth. And we mentioned Uber and all this, and he got an idea. And today that idea is called Megabus. It's an app where corporations can reach out over the app and get quotes from bus companies for special trips for their employees. Because he was working for this company and he called like 15 companies and not one of them called him back. So he got the idea to get an app for it. He approached Uber and Uber said, we already have that app, but we're not implementing it. But you can go see the guy who created it and maybe you can do not a lease deal, whatever they call it. So that's what he did. And he started Megabus. His first round of funding was $11 million. Second round total was $33 million. And part of that was giving himself a $200,000 a year salary and an apartment in Manhattan. And that came from one idea, one sound idea. And this is a guy who came up with 4 pages of a statement. It was a nightmare. I never thought he was that kind of guy, but we got it condensed down and he achieved his goal. So anyway, all right, everybody, we're running late today. I thank you all for hanging in there with me.
Thank you.
Please take advantage of it. I'll see you in the morning. I'll see you next week. And I'll be scheduling the master class. And then after that, we'll schedule the one-on-one. I really want to help every single one of you identify what it is you want and to help you create a plan of action. Identifying what are the obstacles for you personally and overcoming them. And if you were on the call last night, there was a gentleman that talked about having to go into foreclosure, he had to go into bankruptcy. And we talked about overcoming those obstacles. And I'm going to, if I get a hold of him, I'm going to schedule time to talk to him and help him create a plan of action. And that's what I want to walk away with. This is not some bullshit, rah-rah crap. You're going to have tools that you can use. You're going to have skills that you're going to learn, and you're going to be able to do this. And you're going to be able to do this at a different level than most other people. The problem that I found with most of the material out there is that there is no step-by-step plan for achieving your goal. They tell you all the rah-rah, they tell you all the audio stuff to listen to, but nobody gives you an action plan. And at the end of the day, if you have no plan, you ain't going to do nothing. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll post this recording because it's being saved to the cloud, so it's not going to crash. I'll post it tomorrow. You all have a nice day. And remember, begin, even if you don't take advantage of the $19 offer, at least begin identifying what is your financial goal, income goal for 2021. And we'll discuss that next week's call. Have a good night, everybody. I hope you found value in all this great stuff.
Thank you, Bert.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bert.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bert.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Oh, she's pretty.